is Rio, and I teach at Fresno City College, and this is what I consider your Week 0 video for students enrolled in CIT 93 Client-Side Scripting. This is also a video for students that I hope will consider taking this course. Now, if you're wondering what CIT 93 means or what client-side scripting means, it's really the programming language of the web. So JavaScript is the language that we use to program the browser. So any website you've ever been to has JavaScript, most likely. And many apps now, because they have a component that hits the web, may have an aspect of JavaScript. Because HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is really the platform of the web. And so this is a great time to learn JavaScript. There's no doubt about it. So even if your major is not web development, which by the way, if it is, awesome, I'm happy you're here. And even if you're studying some other technology related discipline, it's still a great time to learn JavaScript because the chances are in your career you're going to see some of it. And even if you're not studying technology and you're just somebody who would like to increase your skill set or honestly just want to learn something new, because learning a programming language, even if it's not your discipline, has been proven to be really good for our brains because it really makes us think, one, and two, in a whole new way, which lays patterns in our brain. So there's just all kinds of reasons to take JavaScript, right? Now, here's the other really hopefully thing that gets you hot and excited. Hot, that's not the word I'd want to use, but okay. To really get you excited about learning it is learning it from me. And the reason I say that honestly is that I have studied and looked at almost all resources available for learning JavaScript in the world today. And what's cool about that, and also daunting, is that there's so many. And so I feel like I've really created a balance, and I'm using 3 resources for this class that are really going to be beneficial to you. First, getting that muscle memory, understanding how the language works, and then really building something to give you that experience of knowing that you can create something, because that's really what this is all about, is taking these concepts and building something that you want to build, something you're excited about building. So stepping back, so that's what this course is, right? These are resources, but I want to step back for a minute to my comment about how popular JavaScript is. I'm going to look at this link. So if you've heard, you may not have heard of this website called Munk. And so Munk is really what we look at as far as how popular or what programming languages in the world today are popular, who's using what, right? And the way they determine that is by the number of pools on GitHub. So it's really, if you don't know GitHub, you're going to learn it this semester because we're going to use it all day and night for this class. But they do it by the number of pull requests. And really that's just an indicator of how much code is out there. So then they look at it in terms, first they graph it by that, but they also graph it by the number of questions on Stack Overflow. How many people are talking about JavaScript? How many people are coding in it? How many people are talking about it? And when you look at that, JavaScript is the most used on GitHub, and it's the most talked about on Stack Overflow. So that alone gives you an indication of why it's a great time to learn JavaScript, right? And so that's what I was trying to say. It's a great time to learn it. I hope I've created the resources. So now I'd like to talk about some of these resources that you're going to need for this course. And I really feel like not only have I created the right balance, but they're also economically really doable, right? It's not overwhelming as far as cost. So the first resource I will talk about is it's called the Front End Development, and it's from an organization called the Big Nerd Ranch, specifically by this guy named Chris. I've actually taken a course by him. He's awesome. Him and Todd together, these guys have created this book, and it's actually kind of, I'm not always a person that wants to use textbooks for these kind of courses because I find they're out of date and they're not written by people who actually do this. So what I love about this book is that it's that combination of people who do professional development and do professional training. So they're good at what they do and they know how to teach. So this book we're going to be using for what I call the apply part of this course. This is where you're going to take these concepts of JavaScript and apply them. So this is, I would recommend getting this right now. I'm showing you the link on Amazon. It's also available at the Fresno City bookstore. You can get an ebook version of it as well. I'll just show you. This book I've been now through almost 90% of it. So what's great also about getting this book now is the first 6 chapters really covers HTML and CSS. So this course, our hope is that you have had some HTML and CSS. So even if you have, even if you haven't, it's still good to get and review those first 6 chapters, because that you can never get enough training on HTML and CSS, because there's just, especially CSS. HTML, there's not that many tags to learn. CSS, there's so much going on with CSS. So that's why I love this book. I'm actually going to use this book for this class, CIT93 JavaScript, and next semester I'm actually teaching CIT94 Node.js, server-side with Node, and I'm also using this book because the last, I think, 7 chapters of the book, or maybe more, is with Node.js. Anyway, back to the resources for this course. So again, get this right away. We're going to need it the first week of the semester, so the sooner you get it, the better. So the other thing we're going to use is a course on Udemy called JavaScript with Weird Parts. And what this speaks to, and the name is weird, I agree. It's because JavaScript has gotten kind of a bad rap, and mostly because most people see some of the things that happen in JavaScript, and because they don't take the time to really understand it, they say it's weird. But Tony Alicea, and look at this, 80,000 students have enrolled in this course. It's rated really high. It really helped me understand the way JavaScript works, and so that when I look and I hear people talking about it, I see that they don't really have taken the time to understand how JavaScript works. And we have new versions of JavaScript. There's a new ECMAScript, which is really who creates the standard or creates the language itself. There's new versions out. And so anyway, going back to this, this is a $15 resource, right? Well worth it. But here's the other cool thing: during the summer, if you wanted, the first 3 hours of this are available on YouTube. So Tony Alicea made this available on YouTube so that you could check out the first 3 hours. But you are going to need it for our course, because we do, I think, 85% of this course on JavaScript. So the other resource that I'm really excited about, and I've used last semester, matter of fact, I used this the last time I taught it, and I used this one, which is Free Code Camp. And we're going to do the 10 hours of basic JavaScript in here. And this is really where you get what I would call your muscle memory of coding. And this just is good to get muscle memory, and it introduces you to the language itself in a really great way. And Free Code Camp is awesome. There's a meetup in Fresno, Free Code Camp. It's an international site where you can help you after this class or during this class level up on other types of skills. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to do a little review HTML and CSS, there's a whole section for that I'd recommend here, right? So I love Free Code Camp. It's a wonderful resource, right? So I'm going to jump over real quick and look at our course on Canvas. Canvas is a system we use at Fresno City to teach courses. And what I am looking here at the syllabus, and I want to just give you an idea here. So when I'm talking about Free Code Camp, that's the practice part of our course. That's 25%. The learn part of it is JavaScript, the weird parts. And this is where you really learn about the language, how it works, why it does the things that it does. So that part of the course is 25%. The apply part is, which is really here, which is coding along with this book. Because most of this, there's a really great combination of concepts and then the actual coding up projects in this class or in this book. So that's how we're going to do the front end development with Big Nerd Ranch. And then 25% of this class is actually you creating something from all this information and experience, knowledge and practice that you get. So And if the way this works as far as the course, if you scroll down in here, and by the way, you won't see the course yet. I'm going to spend the next 3 weeks after doing this video working on the first 3 weeks of the semester. It should not take me 3 weeks, but it might. But I'll work on having the first 3 weeks ready and available for you, hopefully at least a week before the semester starts. But what you can see by looking at the schedule here is that from the beginning of the semester, and I've actually color coded these. So the learn part, or actually let's just start with the practice part. So here's in green, these are all the free code camps, and we do like 25 items for them in each chunk as far as week. And then you have the JavaScript, the weird parts. So these are the lectures that you have to do, and I'll give you more instruction in those first couple of weeks about how you show your work. And basically, we're using GitHub for everything. So everything that you code, you'll do GitHub to push your code up to GitHub, so that we have a central location for us to look at code. And then the apply. So then in the book, so you can see all the red over here is where you're actually using the front-end development for the Big Nerd Ranch. So you can see how many items you have. And then develop it is actually where you take the things that you've learned, right? And then you develop something. I developed for this part of it, because I did every bit of this. If you didn't hear me say that before, I did everything I'm asking you to do, I've done over this summer. So I created, they created a thing called an ottergram. It's kind of like an Instagram for otters, totally fun. I created a kitty cat match little game from that, but I'll talk about more as we get there. But you can see that these items, there's only 6 of the developed, and they account for 25%, but it means each one of them weighs heavier because we're not doing as many, but this is an important part. All of it's important. And then we go back into the Big Nerd Ranch, continuing on with our other resources, and then you have 4 weeks at the end where you develop something based on this. And what they do through these chapters is you create this thing called the Coffee Run web app concept. So it's great, and then you're going to take and create something from there. And I took the concepts here and I modified them, and I'll show you this. I'll go over all the code that I've written through the weeks that we're together. Okay, all right, so that's this course. So again, I hope if you're hanging out this long, you care enough that A, you're hopefully enrolled, or B, you're thinking about it. So really seriously think about enrolling in this course. I think it's going to be awesome. So the thing I'll leave you with is the editor that you're going to use, because these days there's so many code editors on the market. Last semester I used, when teaching this class, or last year, I used WebStorm from IntelliJ, and it was a great system, but I felt like it was a little too much for what we needed as, really the beginning parts of doing development. So I'm switching this semester. I'm switching to what a lot of people are switching to, honestly. This is not just me kind of going off on a whim. A lot of in the last year, I've seen coding demonstrations. Many people are now using these resources, and so if you're not in love with an editor, I recommend you consider using this one for this class. And what it is Visual Studio Code from Microsoft. That really may surprise some people, right? But Microsoft has done a great job with this. It's a fairly lightweight, but has a lot of the features we'd want in a full IDE and system. Great integration with GitHub. Free, is accessible for all the major operating systems. So that'd be the other thing I would say is, spend a little time getting up to speed on your editor. We are going to use GitHub. We'll start with that the first week. We're going to use private repos for you to post your work. So more on that during the first couple of weeks. So anyway, I hope I've given you incentive. I hope I've piqued your interest in learning JavaScript and learning it from me, and learning it at Fresno City College, and learning it online. That's the last thing I don't think I talked about, is that this course is 100% online. Now, what that means is you know, you're going to be able, I'll have each week organized as far as what you need to do, instruction, at least overviews every week for what you're doing. And then you can always come see me if you need additional help. I recommend online students always come see the instructor if they need help. So it's not that I won't be there with you, but you'll just be given a bit more of a convenient way to absorb the content of the course. Anyway, probably longer than I thought on this video, but I think it was necessary. So have a great one, and I will see you in a couple weeks. I'll start working on the rest of the weeks, and hopefully, again, you'll get another email from me once I release the course and you can take a look. All right, peace out.